Hello, this is David Lasher from Keen 360 with a video overview of our solution for portfolio and program governance. This solution is for any organization that manages or should be managing portfolios of projects, whether IT or otherwise, for changing and transforming the organization itself. Our solution emphasizes governance, meaning alignment and coordination of those with positions of authority, decision rights, for program and project execution. Our application is informed by a theory or model of three-tier governance with outside stakeholder participation. It aims to trigger the right conversations with the right parties at the right time. Our tool complements, does not have to replace, tactical tools for work and task management, tools like Jira that prevails in IT, or Microsoft Project that most everyone is familiar with. I should also add that this pre-configured application complements our own Keen 360 solution selling application, which supports commercial organizations as they work to sell the projects that can be governed and managed on the application, the solution that we're going to be looking at over the next 10 or 15 minutes. Our program governance solution is powered, as all of our CRM-oriented solutions are powered, by the Creatio platform for BPM, Business Process Management, and CRM, Customer Relationship Management. This platform might not yet be familiar to you, but it is well regarded and well ranked by the industry analysts such as Gartner and Forrester, as we see here. But let's jump into the application itself. The starting point is portfolios of the projects that are going to be managed by our teams. The portfolios might be different divisions or units within an organization. It could be different organizations themselves. For example, a VC or PE firm and its portfolio of companies with their own portfolios of projects. Within a given organization, it could be different leaders in the C-suite with the COO, the CFO, and the CIO having their portfolios of projects. For a CIO, it might be the different directors reporting to him or her with their responsibilities and their sets of projects. Setting up a portfolio is very straightforward, and once we have a portfolio, we can see the projects that compose it. The portfolio is basically a collection object. So let's step into what is more interesting and what we'll be spending more time with, the fields and functionality for the projects or programs themselves. Here on the left, we see summary information. Then we have tabs for the different types of fields and functionality that we need to properly manage or govern a project. And we see the life cycle of the project across the top. And what we're viewing right now is standard management information geared towards governance and communication. But let's step over to the profile information. We set up the basics of the project. And then for commercial organizations, we can track what the approved budgets were, what the approved hours were, what the target margin was. And week by week or month by month, we can report on how our actuals plus our estimates to complete are comparing to our approved or budgeted hours, dollars, and, if applicable, profitability. This information comes from what we were looking at, which is the cadence of updates that the PM, program or project manager, is responsible for producing after working with teams and reporting up to the steering committee. And I would take a moment to emphasize that that is the three-tier governance model. It is the delivery teams and work streams who come together to form a PMO, a program office, a program management office that organizes work, assigns work, identifies and escalates issues, finds risks, and facilitates mitigation plans to reduce the probability or severity of that emerging risk. And then at the top tier of the governance structure is the steering committee, the executive sponsors. All of the functionality in this solution is aimed at making those three levels of the delivery organization aligned, coordinated, and successful. I will not go into great detail here, but I want to emphasize that the tracker items are basic reporting that the PM is responsible for collecting, analyzing, and distributing on a cadence that might, again, be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever is appropriate for the project. The tracker items might be classic action items. They might be issues that represent questions that need to be resolved or answered, typically through escalation that includes the steering committee, the top level of the governance structure, and risks, as we mentioned, are threats to the planned delivery, the schedule, the budget, the scope, the quality. The finance status we'll step into, and we will see that what we have the ability to do is make it easy for the PM to update from data that may be in other systems or other spreadsheets that the team is managing, the cost information, the hour information, in other words, the labor information, and the margins. This information, when entered here, updates the summary information that we saw on the Profile tab. I would point out here that we see our three-tier governance with our outside stakeholders. What this arrangement does is it makes it easy for us to get the right information to the right people with a click of a button at the right time. Typically, the PMO is collecting information from the delivery team, assessing it, and then sharing with either the steering committee or the outside stakeholders. Obviously, the types of information that get shared with the steering committee are different than the messaging and information that goes out to the stakeholder teams. We'll see more on this as we move along. The snapshots are critically important. They are for executive communications and management. The snapshots here are to enable those with the ultimate decision rights, the ultimate authority to separate signal from noise. In other words, the snapshots allow the executive team to hone in on that which most needs their attention. As we step into one snapshot, the snapshots again would be on a cadence that is decided for the project or program or initiative. And what we can do for any given project is define what the key success factors are. And we can report in dashboard style to the executive team where we stand on each one of the key success drivers. It is the job of the PMO, led by the PM, to take all of the information that comes from various sources in various ways from the delivery team, process it, assess it, render a judgment, and report up to the steering committee and maybe out to a stakeholder team. This method is very powerful for retaining the attention of executive and outside individuals who are critical to program success, but have scant time and attention to devote to regular program execution. So again, this is the main workspace, simple, straightforward, and yet powerful in its impact, in which the PM goes to assign, track the key information, the key actions, the key updates that ultimately determine whether a program or a project will be successful. Consistent with the focus on strategic management and that which is most important, we define deliverables that might be in the contract that need to be delivered by the team, and key milestones. The milestones that we see here are not tasks, it's not project management. These are the moments that the whole team must know and must hit. If the PM has been collecting the data And if we know what is most important, we of course need to summarize and share in order to facilitate effective communication. And the platform allows us to do so. We see here in the context of the project or program a summary of the key metrics and where we stand on the deliverables. And we will be taking a look at the more robust reporting capabilities for the platform in a few minutes. You can hardly have a project without having a team. We have our delivery team. We organize according to whether they are in one or more of our governance levels, our 3-tier governance levels. And we have our outside stakeholders. By collecting and maintaining this information, we are able to, at a click of a button, schedule meetings, send emails, and execute other automations. Of course, if we have teams, we ought to be assessing how they are performing, providing feedback, so that we become an organization of continuous learning and continuous improvement. The functionality here allows the PM and the workstream leaders to provide meaningful feedback when the project is being executed to the members of the team who are doing the work. The evaluation process, in short, is based on a design or theory that there should be self-evaluations, then there should be the evaluations by the relevant manager. There should be meetings to review, discuss, and acknowledge the rankings and feedback. And then this information at the first line managerial level can be percolated upward to the PM and over to the HR organization and become the basis for the semi-annual and annual performance review process. This relieves a traditional pain point in service delivery or project delivery organizations in that it brings together the actual delivery of the work with the critical evaluation process for the members of the team. As we would expect from any CRM system, we can connect the project in the database to a broad range of other objects that are in the database. I would point out in particular the ability to connect to contracts that might be the basis of the project, including change requests that are inevitable in at least some industries. We can make attachments, and we'll take a moment here to show that we have a setup tab for defining who the delivery organizations are, the outside stakeholder groups. We define the project hierarchy here. For example, if there are change requests or sub-projects, they can be modeled in this manner. We select the methods that determine what our success factors are, what our statusing method is, and how we define roles and responsibilities. I have not gone into it, but yes, our pre-configured application supports the definition and maintenance of so-called RACI matrices for assigning responsibilities for different roles in the delivery team. With our collected information for the key deliverables, we can not only produce the RACI matrix, but we can export it, have nice charts, and share them with the organization to promote clarity on precisely who is responsible for what in a strategic sense for the program or project. We saw in the Project Setup tab that we can choose methods for success factors and reporting statuses. These methods get set up and made available system-wide in this methods section of the application, just showing that if a given project feels that red, yellow, green is not sufficient and wants to have green, yellow, and yellow, red available for reporting, that's entirely feasible. If your success factors are different than the success factors that we saw a few minutes ago, those two can be changed. If different parts of your organization, different portfolios, different types of projects have different methods, we comprehend that with this functionality here. We can hardly promote alignment and bring about effective governance and therefore delivery without reports and dashboards. The capabilities, as mentioned earlier, are quite robust. What we see here is lists for a single project that I have selected in the filter up here, so that we have the ability for our 3 tiers of the delivery team to share and discuss statuses. We can engage the outside stakeholder groups as well. The finances are available for review and update. All of this information at the click of a button can be exported to Excel for distribution to those who are not in the system, for creation of other charts and graphs or pivot tables if and as desired. What we see here is simplified, but it's based on the financial information that we were looking at. And what we see in this particular graph is how many hours have we actually consumed in the project, how many are estimated to complete, and how does it compare to that which was budgeted or approved at the outset, and as may be subsequently adjusted through the approval processes. The key here is that with the data that we were collecting in the screens for the PM, we are able to generate in many different formats the summary information that we need to share with the delivery team itself, across the PMO, up to the steering committee, and out to the stakeholders, all through automations powered by the BPM engine of the Creatio platform. That's the conclusion of the overview of the functionality in our pre-configured application on the Creatio platform. What we're looking at now is the portal functionality. Obviously, in program governance, we have many different types of groups or teams that need to be engaged and informed in what we are doing. The Creatio platform offers 3 different types of portals to make it easy for those teams and groups to be involved in the project and the workflow and the reporting at the levels that are appropriate for them. The customer portal allows outside organizations to participate in activities such as project launch, which might be vitally important in some types of organizations, for onboarding a customer, for installation of a major complex project, for launch of a complex set of services. And to conclude, I would mention that the Creatio platform includes mobile apps for the Android and Apple platforms so that your teams can have all of the information from the system at their fingertips, wheresoever they might be, online and offline through the synchronization capabilities. That concludes this overview video. We thank you for spending the time with us and taking a look at our solution. If what you have seen looks intriguing, if it looks like it could solve problems within your organization, if it looks like it could help your teams to deliver better, we hope that we will hear from you so that we can arrange a proper demo at a more deliberate pace to go through the functionality that might be of most interest to you and your team. Again, thank you. We look forward to hearing from you.